Hi, I'm Tia Simmons, your host for Sam's News and Entertainment Magazine. We have another great show ahead for you, including some footage from the press conference that Lech Walesa, the former president of Poland, spoke at. We also have some local and national news, along with a weather forecast for the weekend. But first, a few tidbits that I thought might interest you. Here's some news-making records. The 54th edition of the Guinness World Records book has been released. In it are records of the world's oldest bridesmaid, who is 105 years old, the world's longest dog with a nose-to-tail length of 7.61 feet, and the world's fastest talker, coming in at 655 words per minute. Many of these records were set on last year's Guinness World Records Day. Over 200,000 people gathered to make or break records as a part of the international event. And another world record, a mega meatball along the East Coast in Italy. This meatball was nearly 227 pounds. Matthew Magnitsky, owner of the Italian eatery, was presented with a plaque from the Guinness Book of World Records after creating the world's largest meatball. The old record was nearly 199 pounds, but Magnitsky blew that record out of the water. What an honor. This one's hilarious. A man from Colorado was able to find his cell phone at a large trash dump after digging through the piles of trash and dialing the number while listening for the ringing. Billy Boyd dropped the phone while raking in his yard in Aspen and accidentally pushed it into a bag of leaves. Once he realized what he had done, it was too late. He had brought the bag of leaves to a recycling center, which had then been brought to a trash dump. And once he arrived at the dump, and after dialing his cell phone number from another phone for over half an hour, Boyd finally found his phone. Is this the end of McDonald's in Iceland? It's hard to imagine that a company as world-renowned as McDonald's would have to shut down any of its franchises, but the current state of the global economy is forcing John Garter, the franchise owner of 3 branches in Iceland, to do just that. The country of Iceland is on the brink of bankruptcy, and costs of importing anything, let alone the packaging of meat, vegetables, and cheese, has doubled. Some of the population won't be sad to see the golden arches come down, but from the time of the announcement that a Big Mac will soon be impossible to buy, the 3 stores have seen a boom in business, with lines reaching out the doors. Amy Brasher, a 45-year-old from San Antonio, Texas, was arrested after a mechanic reported her to the police. He found 18 packages of marijuana packed into the engine. Brasher had brought the car in to get an oil change and left with her hands cuffed. Walmart really does have everything now. Walmart has started carrying caskets online. This is in response to Costco offering caskets on their website. Wow, talk about killing the competition. Walmart has a selection of 14 caskets, as well as a variety of urns for the cremated. Pat Lynch of the National Funeral Home Director Association isn't worried, though. He says that online retailers don't offer the one important thing that funeral homes do, and that's the comfort of human contact at a difficult time. But I don't think I could call a friend for human contact after saving a couple $100s online. Still, it does have a creepy factor, shopping online for caskets on Walmart's website. And a man from California won the winning numbers in a local lottery with the first prize of $412,000. He ordered a Porsche, made plans for a family vacation in Hawaii, had a fancy champagne dinner with his wife and friends at an expensive Hollywood restaurant. But unfortunately, once he went to get his winnings, he was told that the first prize was to be divided among 9,097 other people who had also won. His portion of the jackpot was $45. That is bad news. Poor guy. While most Xbox owners are aware of the dangers of late night Microsoft point purchases, we imagine that no one ever worried about their dog doing the same thing. And yet, Greg Strope of Richmond, Virginia, tells the media that his dog, Oscar, purchased 5,000 Microsoft points, adding up to a total of $62.50. Strope says that he received an email while he was sleeping and discovered it was a purchase confirmation from Microsoft. When he went to check his Xbox 360, he found out that his controller had been chewed by his dog, and he realized that the dog had not only managed to turn on the console, but to also purchase points. This one is very interesting. Space Hotel says it's scheduled to open. This company is making plans to open the first hotel in space and supposedly on target to accept its first paying guests in 2012. The Barcelona-based architects of the Galactic Resort say that it will cost $4.4 million for a 3-night stay at the hotel. Included with this price is an 8-week training course on a tropical island. And during their stay, guests would see the sunrise 15 times a day and travel around the world every 80 minutes. They would wear Velcro suits so that they can crawl around their pod rooms by sticking themselves to the walls like Spider-Man. This space hotel CEO, Xavier Claremont, who is also a former aerospace engineer, said that the project will put his company at the forefront of an infant industry with a huge future ahead of it. He believes that space travel will become common in the future. Claremont says it's very normal to think that your children, possibly within 15 years, could spend a weekend in space. I can't wait. But that's all. That's about all the interesting tidbits that we have for you. I'm going to pass it off to Justin, who has your news and weather forecast for this weekend.
Thanks, T. I know I would really love to go to space as well. The university was quite surprised when President Gattner revealed his plans to retire in August 2010. The announcement was made at the annual faculty and staff picnic hosted by Dr. Gattner and his wife. The faculty and staff reactions were mixed. There was a lot of chatter going on after the announcement. Many people seemed to be upset and surprised. There hasn't been any word of who will be filling his position. Registered voters in Walker County had a chance to help decide on 2 issues and several amendments in the election yesterday. Voter turnout was very light, with less than 11% of the 29,411 registered voters who actually are in Walker County to cast their vote. Only 3,130 ballots were cast in Walker County. The city library expansion has been approved by voters in last night's election, so the $3.5 million bond will renovate and expand the library. In addition, there were 8 Huntsville City Charter amendments approved, with one that will move the regular city general elections from May to the new uniform election date in November, effective this January. And in the mayoral race, Anna C. Parker thanks her supporters after winning the largest percentage of votes at 30.5% in yesterday's election. Jean Locke received the second highest number of votes at 25.9%. The top contenders will face off in the December 12th runoff. And in Syracuse, New York, police are accusing a 22-year-old upstate New York man of hanging his girlfriend's 4-month-old kitten with a belt and making a video of the animal struggling. Joanne Seachy told Syracuse she couldn't find her kitten when she returned home Halloween night after going trick-or-treating with her children. The next day, she found a video on her digital camera showing the kitten hanging from the apartment door with a belt around its neck. Police said the video showed the kitten struggling before going motionless, and Seachy's live-in boyfriend, Russell Williams, stepping in and out of the video. The injured kitten was later found alive under the porch. Williams was charged with unjustifiable animal cruelty. Police do not know if he has an attorney. And orders to U.S. factories rebounded in September. The 5th increase in 6 months has given hope that a revival in manufacturing will help support an overall economic recovery. There is a worry that if a consumer spending falters in coming months, orders will slump again. The Commerce Department says orders rose 0.9% in September, slightly better than the 0.8% advance economists had expected. Demands has increased for both durable and non-durable goods such as chemicals and energy products. And the Grand Old Party seems to be showing prominence in states that not too long ago Barack Obama carried. The GOP won 2 key states in yesterday's off-year elections. Both Virginia and New Jersey voted in Republican governors. Bob McDonnell won an easy victory in Virginia, and Chris Christie in New Jersey. Congratulations to the both of them. A rapist in Cleveland was found to be hiding at least 10 bodies on his property. The registered sex offender, Anthony Sowell, lives in the home and has now been charged with 5 counts of aggravated murder, rape, and felonious assault and kidnapping. Some bodies were found in and around his home yesterday. Authorities found 4 corpses in the backyard, and a skull was found in the basement that had been dumped in a bucket. Police uncovered the bodies of 6 other victims on Thursday and Friday once a woman reported that she was raped at Sowell's residence. The search for more bodies has continued today as authorities continue to board up houses in the area where residents of the neighborhood have complained of a foul stench. In Southeast Houston, a teenager was killed while riding a go-kart through a parking lot of an apartment complex. As Jose Martinez, the 16-year-old, was coming around a curve at about 6:15 that night, he collided with a car that was leaving the parking lot. Martinez had a friend watching, Maria Pena, who said he was thrown from the go-kart. Police say the 20-year-old one driver of the car honked her horn and tried to stop before hitting Martinez. Pena says she ran over to him along with some others and tried to revive him, but he was never able to regain consciousness. Our regards go out to his family. So construction work is still underway on the City of Huntsville's H.B. Toney Memorial Fire Station number 4. It will eventually house Huntsville firefighters and Huntsville Walker County EMS personnel. The construction has been going on for about 2 months, but the bad weather has slowed down the process even more. Even though there was standing water in some areas, Monday was the first day in a while the workers were able to even get onto the site. At 1619 State Highway 30 East, the workers are installing a water line and conducting surveys. Hopefully this project will be completed soon. Well, that is all I have for news. Now let's take a look at our weather. Texas had a beautiful day today with this warm front that had just come in. It brought in some clear blue sunny skies, a light breeze, and cool temperatures ranging in the mid-70s. As you take a look around some of the cities, El Paso had a pretty warm day of 73. We had a pretty warm day in Huntsville here as well with 77. Brownsville had an extremely warm day at 81. But as you can see, all clear sunny skies across the state of Texas. A very beautiful day. Now let's go ahead and take a look at our weekend forecast. The clear sunny skies are still in store for us until Sunday. Temperatures will be in the high 70s in the day and cool down to about the mid 50s in the night. Sunday, you may need to pack an umbrella as there's a 30% chance of scattered showers. Well, that's all I have for our news and weather for this weekend. Please, whenever you go out, please be sure to pack an umbrella just in case to stay out of the showers on Sunday. Now, let's go back to you, Tia.
Thanks so much, Justin. This is our time in the show where we highlight a local Huntsville restaurant. This week, we'll be looking at Mackenzie's Barbecue. Let's have a look.
Food, from barbecue sandwiches, ribs, baked potatoes, pies, peach cobbler, and so much more. They've received a lot of local recognition for their food. They won the 2009 Best Barbecue in Montgomery County Award and the Best Barbecue and Best Caterer by the Huntsville Reader's Choice Awards.
I like to come here because it's like barbecue and it's fresh, homemade, and I really like the potatoes, and it's good meat, it's chopped. They chop it right in front of you and it's made, all that cool stuff.
We asked Kevin McKenzie, the owner of Mackenzie's Barbecue, what the story was behind the place.
I came here to Sam Houston to go to school 20 years ago and just stayed. I always wanted to be in the barbecue business, so my wife and I opened this up in '92, and here we are.
We also asked him what he thought made Mackenzie's Barbecue so special.
Well, I think it's family. We're all family, and we've been blessed for a lot of years. We make everything homemade. We don't use frozen stuff and buy. We make our own vegetables and we cook our own meat. We got pits out back. A lot of people don't know we have the pits out back, but we have a lot of pits and it's all wood smoked. It's not gas or electric or anything like that.
What about first-time customers? What should they eat?
It's a hard one. The ribs. Get the onion rings on the burger side. Get you a burger.
The former president of Poland and previous recipient of the Nobel Peace Prize, Lech Walesa, was here on campus last week. He spoke to a press conference and then to students and faculty in the Criminal Justice Auditorium. He had a lot to say, but when asked about what he thought of President Obama winning the Nobel Peace Prize, he gave his thoughts, along with some advice.
Widzę, to każdy z Państwa, ponieważ dobrze piszecie, Każdy z Was może być nadzieją, że w literaturze dostaniecie Nobla, więc dostańcie wcześniej.
From what I see, all of you can write pretty well, so I understand that each of you has a potential for a Nobel in literature, so why don't you submit your candidacy now?
No dlaczego nie?
Why not?
Zachęcić Was.
That's just to encourage you to really
tak-
run for it.
I tak też w taki sposób dostał prezydent Obama Nobla.
So that goes to say, I think that's how I see how President Obama received his Nobel Peace
Świat
Prize.
mówi do stołu,
So I imagine that once he gets everybody at that negotiating table,
wtedy wystąpi z planem reform.
he will then propose some kind of a reform.
Tak ja to widzę.
This is how I foresee it happening.
Jeśli tego nie zrobi, to światu grozi anarchia.
But if he fails to do that, then there will be chaos in the world.
Potrzeba jest reform.
The world is saying that the world needs reform.
Ameryka mówi, potrzeba jest zmian.
The United States says there is a need for change.
Świat po upadku komunizmu i dwubiegunowości musi się zreformować.
And the world, after the downfall of communism and the end of the bipolar system, needs to readjust to the new
I dobrze, gdyby
circumstances.
się zreformował pokojowo.
And it would be very beneficial if this reform, if this readjustment was peaceful.
Więc Obama ma szansę zreformować i zachęcać go, by robił to pokojowo.
So Obama stands a good chance of really reforming the world, and he is being encouraged to do it peacefully.
Wydaje się, że zasłuży na tą nagrodę.
It seems to me that he will deserve his Nobel Peace Prize.
Zobaczymy.
But let's
Valesa also talked about the lack of leadership in the world and how important it is for the U.S. to help restore good leaders. He also stressed the importance of redefining the term leadership.
The world lacks leadership.
Stany Zjednoczone przewodzą militarnie światu na pewno.
The United States has been a military leader to the world, that's unquestionable.
Ekonomicznie też, choć słabną.
It has also been an economic leader to the world, although this has been slightly underestimated, jeopardized.
A nie przewodzą moralno-politycznie.
But the United States has not been the political and military leader to the world.
Świat moralno-politycznie. Świat nie ma przywództwa na dziś.
And this is the situation the world really lacks. Lacks leadership.
Była wygodna sytuacja, kiedy była imperium zła. To było Stany były imperium dobra.
The situation was much more convenient for the United States when there still was the evil empire than the United States was the good empire.
I na tej zasadzie no wszyscy uważali Stany za wiodące imperium dobra.
And in that situation, everybody considered the United States the leading good empire.
Jak upadło tamto imperium, no to problem teraz. Co z tym dobrem?
Now, once the evil empire has collapsed, it's still quite open how we judge the good.
Trzeba, byśmy uratowali przywództwo Stanów.
And I think we need to restore the leadership position to the United
Ale na
States,
nowo trzeba zdefiniować.
but we need to redefine it.
I ja zachęcam do tego i Państwa zachęcam do budowania no właśnie przewodzenia.
And I certainly encourage you to contributing to this restoration of the leadership position of the United States
Chyba, że
in the
Stany
world.
nie chcą, to niech oddadzą to Polsce. Polska potrafi przewodzić.
And of course, there's always a chance that the United States wishes to no longer to be the leadership. Then why doesn't the United States share it with Poland? We will know what to do.
He also spoke about the war in the Middle East, and as a promoter of peace, he believes the Middle Eastern countries could even organize peacefully.
Pod dzisiejsze potrzeby i wezwania można to rozwiązać pokojowo.
I think they can be peacefully organized, providing we readjust the structures and institutions in the world, in today's world.
Ale jak mówię, jesteśmy źle zorganizowani ze starej epoki, dlatego jest trudno rozwiązywać.
But as I was saying, our world's organization, world's order is still bad because it stems from the old era, and that's why we are finding it so difficult to deal with those challenges.
Mówimy o globalizacji,
We speak of globalization,
a gdzie jest jakieś najmniejsze biuro, jednoosobowe nawet, które szuka pomysłów na tą globalizację?
but do we know any entity, any organization, even with one single individual, that is actually focusing on defining what this globalization is going to be like?
Mówimy o bezpieczeństwie i Pan nawet podniósł, a gdzie jest biuro, które globalnie chce rozwiązywać konflikty?
We speak a lot about security in the world, but is there any institution in the world that is actually focusing on global security?
Jedziemy starym NATO, starym ONZ,
We continue to be using old NATO, old United Nations,
które było na co inne pomyślane.
which were established to face totally different challenges in the
Na
world.
dwubiegunowość,
They were established to confront the bipolar system.
na blogowanie się nawzajem.
They were established to block the antagonism between two conflicting
I
sides.
dopóki tu nie poprawimy, to trudno będzie rozwiązywać problem.
And unless we really reform these institutions and readjust them, we shall always find those challenges difficult to overcome.
Valesa expressed his concern for the continual need for labor unions, along with their importance in a triangular system or relationship between the government and its citizens.
Związki zawodowe były, są i będą potrzebne.
The labor unions have always been needed, and they will certainly continue to be needed.
Oczywiście związki dopasowane do sytuacji, a ona się zmienia.
But I mean labor unions that are adjusted to the circumstances that have been changing.
20 do 30 lat nam jest potrzeba, by to się zmieniło mocno.
And I believe that within the next 20 or 30 years, the situation will really transform fully.
Jutro będziemy rozwiązywać problemy i robić życie w trójkącie.
Fully to the extent that tomorrow, that is in those 30 years, we will be solving any challenges in a triangle, so to say.
Równoboczny trójkąt.
A triangle of equal sides.
Pierwszy bok, podstawa.
The one side of it, the base,
Związki zawodowe i organizacje społeczne.
will be established by labor unions and all different NGOs.
Drugi bok, właściciele środków produkcji.
The second side will be those who own the capital.
Trzecie, administracja, rząd włączny.
And the third side formed by all levels of administration, from the local to the federal one.
I to na różnych szczeblach będą takie trójkąty
And
zbudowane.
I imagine there will be triangles of exactly the same scheme on different levels.
I jutro, za 20 lat będziemy się spotykać w trójkątach.
And then tomorrow, that is in the next 20 years, we will meet in those triangles.
I pierwsze pytanie będzie.
And the first question asked when we all get together will be,
Czy jesteśmy w tym trójkącie w stanie wybrać, jaki komputer bierzemy do naszej pomocy?
can we all readily agree on the hardware that we will be using in our negotiations?
I kiedy uzgodnimy komputer,
And once we agree on the computer make that we all will use,
wtedy będzie pytanie, czy każdy z tych trzech grup przyniósł CD-ROM,
the next question will be, has each of the negotiating party got their respective CD-ROM?
każdego, oczywiście w swojej dziedziny.
Of course, regarding their wishes and desires.
Rzucamy do komputera
Then we will enter all the data on the CD-ROMs into the
i
computer.
będzie pytanie, ile wersji naszego postępowania chcemy.
And the only question will be how many alternative options do we want the computer to provide us with?
Przyciskamy, wyskakują te wersje 4 czy 5, jak chcemy.
Then we press enter, and we will end up with 4 or 5 alternative solutions,
Dla każdej to jest trójkąta tego boku.
respectively for every party in the negotiation, for every side of the
I będzie
triangle.
pytanie, kiedy znów się spotkamy, wybierzemy jedną z tych wersji.
And the other question will be when would we meet again to actually choose the one version that we will all agree, the one option that we will all agree on.
Jak doczekać do tych czasów?
How to survive until that moment, I wonder.
Będzie to problem, bo to emocje, silniejsze wygrywa.
It will not be easy because there will be an emotional involvement. You know, whoever is more powerful will have will dominate.
Nie zawsze ma rację, no ale silniejszy.
And the powerful is not always right, but the powerful wins because that party has a
A
power.
maszyna nam przeliczy, powie, koniec.
Whereas a
Bez
machine,
emocji.
a computer, will be totally emotionless. It will estimate and calculate everything fully without emotions.
Przyspieszcie to działanie, bo chciałbym to widzieć. To jest mój dawno pomysł głoszony.
And I mean, contribute to this coming fast because this is a concept that I have been promoting for a long, long time, and I believe it's my concept. So I would like to live to see it.
Though Walesa is no longer the president of Poland, he is still a prominent world figure. When asked the question of how he viewed himself in the world today, he answered in a humorous way after his speech. Many students and faculty commented on his funny personality.
Znaczy ja zawsze robiłem to samo.
I actually have been doing the same thing all the way along.
To kiedyś słuchała mnie tylko żona,
But before it was only my wife who would listen to me.
teraz się znudziła.
Now she's got bored.
Potem rodzinę, bo miałem coraz większą.
Then I had the family listening to me and it kept growing and growing.
Potem cała Polska.
Then I had old Poland listening to me.
Za to samo siedziałem w więzieniach.
And I actually was put in prison for the same thing, for the same
I
views.
za to samo jestem u was na konferencji.
And I've arrived here at Sam Houston for doing the same thing. So,
A gdzie to mnie doprowadzi, to nie wiem.
and I don't know where this will lead me to. What will be my final destination?
Oczywiście dzisiaj wspieram dwie takie główne dziedziny.
Of course, I could say that I do support two major spheres of our life.
Bo tam się mogę znaleźć.
Because these are the ones that I may have to do with in the future.
Najprawdopodobniej oczywiście.
Well, most likely, the likelihood is great.
A więc szpitalnictwo
That is hospitals and medical care.
i więziennictwo.
And then prisons on the other hand. So,
To są dwa pewne miejsca w
Because these
moim
are the
wieku i
two
po moich doświadczeniach.
institutions that after all my experience I might end up.
The Lake Walesa Foundation was created in 1995 by Lake Walesa. Since it has been around for several years, he had a lot to say about his foundation, its purpose, and what he is currently doing as a former president.
Demokracja mnie podziękowała za przewodzenie.
Well, it happened so that democracy actually said to me, "Thank you for your leadership. We no longer want you."
Ktoś inny wygrał wybory prezydenckie, a ja miałem na to ochotę.
At that time, someone else won the presidential election, although I was hoping for re-election.
Ponieważ to był komunista i postkomunista,
And as the guy that won against me was a former communist party member,
bałem się, że może zawrócić moje reformy.
I worried that with his presidency, the reforms that I introduced in Poland might go back, might be jeopardized.
Stąd się zorganizowałem
That's why I established some kind of an organization
i tam, gdzie szedł w dobrym kierunku, to go wspierałem, a tam, gdzie źle, to natychmiast walczyłem.
that allowed me to provide this guy with my support whenever he was heading in the right direction and kind of oppose him and criticize him whenever he was doing things wrongly.
I taki był jakiś czas był taki cel.
And for some time, at the very beginning, this was the major goal of my foundation.
Ale Polska już później poszła we właściwym kierunku.
But later on, the right direction of Poland's development was well stable and
Więc
determined.
przeorientowałem się na pracę w świecie, mówiąc o globalizacji i o nowej epoce.
So then I decided I could focus more on working on the global arena, that is preparing and talking about globalization all throughout the world.
A więc by wykorzystać te wielkie zwycięstwo, na którego czele stał.
That means trying to speak about how to fully take advantage of the great victory that I happen to be the leader in the struggle for.
I to robię do dziś.
And that's what I've been doing until now.
Well, that about sums it up for this edition of Sam's News and Entertainment Magazine. I hope you all enjoyed the show. I know that I did. Please join us next time here on Channel 7. I'm Tia Simmons, and I hope to see you next week.